Good morning, happy Wednesday, happy vlog day. I hope you are all well. A few things to get through. We're going to go on what's coming up in the next week. Tonight, Wednesday, is a free legal clinic at Ice and Harrison from 3:30 till 5 o'clock. If you've got any questions, any things like family matters, if you go on to Ice and Harrison solicitors, you can find out all the things the services that they offer. And it just might be that question that you just think, I don't know how to go about it. What are my options? What can I do about it? Just go and pop in. It's a free appointment. Just go and pop in and go speak to one of the solicitors and lawyers there between 3:30 and 5 o'clock. Also coming up on Saturday, the Dassons are playing at the Yard, a live unplugged night there. And on Saturday, we have been advertising it for them. The little town brunch club. I can't even understand my own writing sometimes. We've been advertising it. It's their cool drag night, and there's lots of slots, and each slot it's what you pay for. So you can get a couple of hours at this price and then a couple of hours at that price, and then you get more the more money you pay, which is a good idea because then hopefully it fits everybody's pocket. It's at the Welfare Hall. It's sort of a local night out at the Welfare Hall. And it just means that you can go and have a laugh, a bit of a drag night, a couple of acts on, lots of music, lots of fun. There's a couple of tickets left. I did put something up yesterday on Facebook, but you can find it at the top of the website on the maindeal.co.uk as a pinned post. And if you go on there, all the details are on there as to what is left. And if you have a look on the Garforth live board, it gives you an indication at the 5 type of slots that you can pay for what tickets are left. It's on this Saturday. So be quick and get the last tickets if you want to go out with a few of your friends and have a bit of a laugh. On Sunday, if you've never been before, over at Sherburn at the Motorist, it's coffee and cars. So if you've got, it's right up my street, it's right up my husband's and lad's street. It's great, it's fun. If you're a bit of a car enthusiastic and coffee, what's not to like? Go to the Motorist at Sherburn on a Sunday, and again, if you have a look at the Motorist, I'll give you all the details of what's on, and I think each Sunday they're all a bit different, so it's worth a little day out, a little morning out. Coming up on the 3rd of March, there's a repair cafe at the Welfare Hall from 2 till 4. And we have touched on it lots of times about what type of things you can take, and we'll touch on it next week because it will be, but put it in your diary so you've got it. On the 3rd of March, 2 till 4, go and take something to be repaired. Mother's Day. It's Christmas, then it's Valentine's, then it's Mother's Day, then it's Easter, then it's Father's Day. It goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And Mother's Day, that's fine to a degree because... No, it's not fine. It's a pain in the backside. Because luckily, I've got, I say luckily, I've got my mother still here, which is fabulous. And then I have the mother-in-law. And so I end up sort of organising something for the 3 of us because it's Mother's Day. So it's actually, I think I might just do cards this year. It's just stress I don't need. Just get a card. It just becomes bigger. And now there's like grandparent. No, we don't need just to extend it and make it more commercial. It needs to be just, everyone says it's a cliche, isn't it? Tell your mum you love her every day, which you should do. And my kids do, or I'd beat them senseless if they didn't. I don't beat my children. But it's just another thing to add on. So can't we just dumb things down a bit and just buy a card and have a nice lunch? But then if we do that, then it's me that ends up sort of organising everything again, and I can't be arsed. So, but there's lots of things happening if you want to go out. The Podge has been the first to advertise the Sizzler. There's going to be some deals and offers, so I will share them should you wish to take your mother out. There's lots of opportunities coming up because I don't even know when it is. Is it March sometime, just before Easter? So spend some more money, do it locally, and I will be sharing what is coming up and what's on offer. But talking about restaurants, I'm going to touch on something that I've seen come up quite a bit, and I listened to a few podcasts, and there was something on one podcast that came up last week, and I just thought, is that what people think? So, for example, if you are booking a group to go to a restaurant, and sometimes it's not always a group, it could be a couple of you, restaurants are asking for pre-orders. Generally, I will use the station house for an example. I think in the station house, it's 5 or more. In the Bella Vita, it might be, I don't know, 10 or more. I don't really know. But I know with station house, it's 5 or more. And I know that because my son works there. But some people will, I've heard moan about is like, I don't, if I have to get my pre-order in, generally it's 24 hours before. It's not that bad. But if you've got a group of people, getting groups of people to find out what they want and then send it to the restaurants. Some people see that as a ball ache and they go, well, I might have to decide on Monday, Tuesday for something I want on Thursday, Friday. But you've got to look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is it costs a fortune to run a restaurant. Oh, more so than ever before. Anything in hospitality, whether it's a pub restaurant, a cafe, or a big full-on restaurant, it costs so much money. And by you've got to see this as actually helping. So if you give pre-orders in and there's say 10 of you, then they know exactly how much food to get. They know what they're buying, and there's going to be, more importantly, no waste. So you've got to think of that picture. You're going out for a meal at probably one of your favourite places, or trying something new, and that's why we go out, isn't it? To experience something new, and because nobody needs to cook or think about cooking or think about the food. So when you go out, what you're actually doing is going in to enjoy that experience, and somebody else cooking you some dinner, which is lovely, but also you're helping that local business just a little tiny bit more. And we're not like New York where we want 25, the waiters want 25% tip. It's great if you've had a good service, tip, because all of the waiters and waitresses that work, a lot of them they all are minimum wage, so they do rely on tips to just bump their little salary bit up about a bit. But we're not New York. We're not asking for like huge amounts of tips. So the handy bit of actually giving your pre-ordering is actually helpful to the restaurant. So think about it like that. It's brilliant. We're going to go on to traders. And it's sort of another thing, and I see it all of the time. People asking on socials, can somebody recommend a? So we're going to use joiner for an example, because someone recommended joiner that doesn't cost the earth, doesn't cost an arm and a leg, can be with me next week, and can do my kitchen for a £5. And then requests aren't that much different than that. Firstly, right, if you want a good joiner or a good tradesperson, right, whether they're a painter, a decorator, a plumber, an electrician, a carpet fitter, a joiner, and you're going to have to wait a couple of weeks or a month, that's because they're good. Right, so if you've got a project, then book it in advance to get the best, right? And if they're not going to do it for a £5, it's because they're experienced, they've invested in their tools, they've invested in getting the best tools to do the best job, so that costs money. And everything, they are also, like the rest of us, suffering from the cost of living and everything. And I will use a joiner again. I think we saw just after COVID, for materials, literally doubled. So I know some of the joiners that I know took a bit of that cost on, but they can't take all of it on. So they can't do it for a £5. Materials cost a lot of money, and they can't do it next week. And if they can, then they're not a proper tradesperson. And they're just someone's mate who wants a £5. So just be mindful of that. People always say, I don't want it ridiculously expensive. They're not. If they are good at what they do, it's not ridiculously expensive. It's because they've invested in their tools to do the right job, to make sure they do a perfect job for you. And the cost of materials is ridiculous. So asking someone to do anything for cheap, it's pointless. Go and ask your mate, Aunt Flo's dog's cat, and then you might get somewhere. But don't please ask people to do things on the cheap, and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg, because everything costs an arm and a leg. And you've got to consider their tools, their materials, their energy, their petrol is all on top of them just as much as ours is. Going to back to restaurants, actually, we've had a couple of no-shows again. I hear about it all the time, and it's just, as we've mentioned before in the past, just not bothering to phone or message or email to say you can't get there or can we change your dates. Rude, just rude. Don't think, right, it's a bit like a dentist. Restaurants probably do work. I'm not saying they do, but if I owned a restaurant and you didn't keep turning up, I'd do the same. Like a dentist, if you don't turn up to your appointment and you keep not turning up to your appointment, you get shoved off and then you don't have a dentist appointment, or a dentist. There's lots of people like that who don't have a dentist because they didn't bother cancelling. And there's lots of people that don't have a dentist because there's not enough NHS places. But there are a handful of people that didn't bother to phone, didn't bother to cancel, didn't bother to rearrange an appointment, and the dentist went whoosh. And they do warn you, and they ask you for a 24-hour, 48-hour notice. So the restaurants, don't think they would be the same if you keep booking and then you're just keep cancelling the same restaurant. You're going to be in a book somewhere saying, no, there's never going to be a space for you. So don't cut your nose off to spite your face. If you can't turn up or you can't go to that reservation, please just contact someone and say, I'm sorry that we can't come because I don't even need to, we're not the doctors. We don't need to triage you as to why you can't come. Just tell them that you want to rearrange and give as much notice as possible. Even a couple of hours is better than nothing, and they can get that table out there, advertise on socials. Have a beautiful day. Be kind, be nice, be thoughtful. Don't moan about everything. Unless there's a really good reason, like, Trump. He's a good reason, isn't he?